Good afternoon, boa tarde, hello, and welcome back to the Global Lives. We are back here with a subject of interest to global citizens and bring a specialist from our team to share all the information and market insights with all of you. Today, we will talk to Rafael Sena, country manager of Goldcrest buyers agent, about the real estate market in the north of Portugal, which is a hot topic for investors. Now, let me just guide you through this live. It should take no longer than 40 minutes, including a Q&A at the end. So the Q&A will happen only at the end of our live. However, if you have to leave or if you just want to start asking questions, just go to our chat and a member of our team will connect with you. So you are watching us live from Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So it's great. Thank you for watching us again this week. On Monday, we talked about St. Kitts and Nevis, and now we're talking about the north of Portugal. Let me see if I've forgotten something here that was on my list. Okay, so really important one. If you haven't already done so, please click the like button and help this video go viral. So to set the tone, we would love to share with you a video from the Tourism Authority of Porto and North of Portugal about this beautiful region while I describe this special part of Portugal. So let's just wait for the team to put it on. So this is Porto. The northern region is the birthplace of Portugal, where the country was formed in the 12th century and is still to this date the home of ancient cities and also contemporary architecture, the land of the famous port wine and the region of breathtaking natural landscapes. For the World Heritage City of Porto, there are many ways to discover this region full of mountains and natural parks. We invite you to discover the regions of Douro, Minho, the Gires National Park, and Trás-os-Montes. Meeting the people, marvel at the Baroque art, walk along the beach of Riverside, and hike mountains, all while tasting superb wines. And the north, the past meets the present in perfect harmony. There are several historical monuments to visit and also stunning landmarks of contemporary Portuguese architecture. Emblematic cities like Guimarães or Braga have centuries of history and great cultural wealth. In cities like Viana do Castelo and the manor houses and stately halls, you will find genuine Portuguese people who like to share their table and their customs and traditions. In Porto and northern Portugal, the joy and gratitude for all they have is experienced in the most spontaneous way. So now that you've seen these images and that I've shared with you a bit about the beauty of this part of Portugal, I want to ask, what else is needed to entice our viewers to invest in Portugal in this region? Rafael, welcome. Thanks for joining us here. So let me know, what do you think? Do you think buying real estate in the north of Portugal, is it a good investment?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Gisani, and welcome everyone. Good afternoon to everyone. I mean, after this amazing introduction from you and the video, it's also great. How not? I mean, I would say certainly, and how not to love the north of Portugal, right? Of course, when we analyze, when we're talking about real estate investment, it is difficult to analyze a region as a whole, right? Because it is important to see the micro regions instead of a larger one. Evaluate the entire history and evolution of prices in specific locations, supply, demand. But you know, so we can get to a final opinion, I would say, if it's a good investment per se or not. Although we can definitely mention on the lifestyle and also, you know, pinpoint a few of the benefits of living in that area, right? So it's that. Well, first of all, that north of Portugal is where Portugal was born, basically, right? It's the the region in Guimarães, actually, which is one of the cities there, is where the first king of Portugal was born, Dom Afonso Henriques, right? So from there, the kingdom kind of expanded through that region that there was in the medieval ages, right? So which gives it, a very unique medieval character to those cities around Guimarães. Guimarães is only less than 1 hour driving from Porto, and so from there, the kingdom then expanded, so that linking to the real estate market, we can expect many real estate houses with character, medieval character. Many opportunities of renovating older properties. So it's also from there we also have, of course, the city of Porto, the second largest city of Portugal, which has already won several international awards for as the best European destination for travelers and also for families to live. Was recently chosen by a Norwegian Suman Finance survey as the best city to live as a family. So we also find, as you mentioned, Braga, Viana do Castelo, de Jerez Natural Park is beautiful. Of course, the famous Douro River and all the cities along the river, and Gaia, which is just also very famous, just across the river from Porto. So a lot of incredible places, definitely. It is also important to mention the accessibility, right? The mobility there, and there's an international airport just north of Porto, about 20 minutes from the city center, where there are connections and flights from to the main cities of Europe, and also quite a few cities in North American daily flights. So it's also good to mention that. So I mean, because of what I mentioned, and for many other reasons, it is definitely an attractive place to invest. And Portugal is actually overall has had a very attractive market, real estate market, for since for 15 years, a strong real estate market with prices and demand. As prices increasing year by year, steady. There's this demand that only grows, right? We have an audience here, probably quite a few North Americans. I usually, whenever speaking with clients and investors from North America, I say, the Americans were not even in the top 10 when we go back 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They didn't even appear in the top 10 list of international buyers, and suddenly the Americans became a big property purchasers here, and because of the scale, right? Of course, the scale of of the U.S. and North America overall, Canadians overall, Brazilians a lot. We're talking about almost 700 million people, which of course, just a few people wanting to get a property, it makes a significant impact in the local real estate market.
I see. No, that's definitely it's a very important area to look at now. There's also Porto has international airport with flights to Canada, USA, Brazil, and connection to many European cities. So it's definitely a fantastic place to invest. I want to ask for anyone joining us now, it's good to also recap that we've just started our live. So Rafael and I will have a bit of a conversation and overview of the real estate markets, and then we'll open the Q&A. So where in the north of Portugal, Rafael, is still okay for a investor to buy property and qualify for Golden Visa?
Well, I don't know if we have the map here to help us just navigate through. If we don't, I can just go through. But there's this. There are quite a few. Nice. We have that then. So, well, there are actually, I mean, it's important to clarify, right? I mean, the real estate investment is allowed anywhere in the country, although there are certain types of properties where you can only invest in certain regions. So it's important to say that it is possible to invest in real estate all over Portugal for a golden visa. What's gonna but then we have to look at specific locations to what you can buy. So if it's commercial real estate, shop, office, service department per se, which will fall into that category, or if it's residential, then there are a few restrictions in terms of and the map shows that the blue area is where you cannot currently invest in residential real estate for golden visa purposes.
The dark blue area.
The dark and the low blue as well. What differentiates that's just the if it's high density or low density. It is. I mean, not to go very much into these details because this is a little bit complicated. But we break down and so yeah. Just go back to the question and really what is so. With that said, that it's possible to invest in the whole north of Portugal. When we get too close to Porto, for example, the city of Porto, there we can get basically invest in commercial real estate, right, from Porto. So, but the city of Porto, but you have the district of Porto, which is really that the white line, that the border that you can see that surrounds that the city of Porto and the other area. So within the district of Porto, there are places that you can get residential real estate. For example, in Baião. Baião is a city or a council that is right by the Douro River, within 30-40 minutes from the Porto, the city of Porto. So within 1 hour from the international airport, you can get residential. You can invest in a residential property that qualifies you for golden visa.
Okay.
And then going like north, a little bit north and east. The very east of Braga, for example, cities like Ponte de Lima or Amarante, which is a beautiful city, Vila Real, and many others, such as Sinfãs. A lot of people that have visited Porto know Sinfãs, or Pinhão, for example. Is if you've always been to Porto and you've taken the train trip, which is highly recommend. It's a beautiful trip from Porto. Riding the train all the way to along the Douro Valley, and you see the spectacular monumental views. It's actually a UNESCO just missed the word. World Heritage, exactly. The Douro Valley is also, it's incredible. 1 hour train drive. It's just incredible. Highly recommend if you have never done. And usually that goes to Peso da Régua, which then will take a transfer to go to Pinhão, and then from Pinhão you do a boat trip, or you do a boat trip from Porto as well. So there are a lot of those cities along the Douro Valley where it's possible to invest in the residential property for golden visa. So.
And those towns and cities are very well connected with Porto, yeah?
They are, yeah. I mean, of course, we would have to look at specific places, and the way that we advise clients, and usually our clients, they look for accessibility and mobility, right? So we'll then recommend those cities where you have train stations or that are very close to the highways. Portugal overall is very well connected and has very good mobility. So. But yeah, and definitely.
Okay, and do you think the properties in the north of Portugal, are they more affordable than in the central and south of the country?
Well, if we compare, if we do comparison from the council or the Council of Lisbon and Porto, for instance. We will find a 35% difference in the price. So being, of course, Lisbon greater than Porto. This is when we look at the Council of Lisbon. When we look at the Greater Lisbon, just to make a correction, it's actually the Great Lisbon compared to the Greater Porto. Okay. We see that we have this difference of 35% of price. So being Porto a little bit being Porto cheaper. If we drive from Porto, let's say 100 kilometers or 150 kilometers from Porto, and driving also 100 kilometers from Lisbon, let's say east, right, which is more to the interior of the country, then we'll see that that curve is actually matching, and the prices start to get quite close, right? I mean, there is a small difference within that range, 5-10%, but nothing very relevant. What is relevant is really the Greater Lisbon and the Greater Porto area.
Okay, I see. And so I think to help us understand better, what would be the best place for the different walks of lives of our viewers here, I would like to invite you to play a game that we've been playing the past 3 lives. And so basically I'll give you examples of client profiles, and then you can tell me what would you recommend as the best place for them in the north. Is that okay?
Of course, yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's go. So so tell me, where do you think is the best place in the north for families?
I actually said in the beginning that that Porto won the award, right, for families, and it is actually I would say that Porto, for all the ages, would be a very good choice. I mean, Porto and all the greater area of Porto, because Porto has a quite good metro system that will take, for example, from Matosinhos, which is the beach, the beach that we saw in the beginning of the video. It's actually Matosinhos. Or Vila Nova de Gaia, which is just across Porto, from the other side of the river. These cities, they are connected, or Maia, which is in the north of Portugal, Porto. They are all connected by the metro, which is not subway, but it's super, like a tram, but metro system. That will take you very easily to the city of Porto. So, and you have the beach, right? And you have international schools as well. So definitely a lot of entertainment for all the ages.
Okay. And also, so what's the best place in the north for retirees?
Well, for retirees, I would say Braga. Braga is also is actually a quite nice city. I guess it's the second largest city, if I'm not mistaken. The second largest city in the north region. About 30 minutes from Porto. Very easy to access from Braga to Porto. It was actually awarded in 2020 by the International Living magazine. Braga was in the top 5 shortlist of small cities to host retirees, and Portugal that year was considered the best destination for retirees. And then they did like a short list of cities, and Braga was in that on the top for the smallest cities. So yeah, I mean, there you have a lot of culture, all the services, restaurants, and good restaurants, good mobility, no traffic, which is great for retirees, right? And also public hospital, public and private hospital. So definitely a very nice, good infrastructure overall, and very nice place for retirees.
Yeah. And it's a stunning city with a lot of architectural sites. Historical sites of importance. And if one of our viewers are now researching about retirement in the North of Portugal, research Braga. It's an interesting one. And now tell me, how about people that want like a deep contact with nature? Where would you recommend?
Well, you have many options. I could just go on and mention different cities, but I mentioned Amarante. I mentioned also Viana do Castelo, Vila Nova de Cerqueira, for example, or Ponte de Lima. These are all cities. Oh, actually, the north of Portugal is beautiful, because of but climate it rains more than the center, so there's a lot of green, so the landscape is just really amazing. Contact with nature you would get really everywhere. There's not a right answer for that, because if you are in the north, you have that whatever you are.
Yeah, there's no shortage of nature there. That's for sure.
No, that's right.
And I must say, Braga, not Braga, sorry, Amarante, I read the other day that it is the birthplace of the Pão de Ló cake.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
living and learning.
I cannot translate the Pão de Ló to English. I have to research, but I can describe it. It's a spongy cake, fluffy but very light. I think it's based on egg yolk and sugar, but beat it like a kind of a ferocious amount of time, and also baked in a very deep clay pot, in the way that it rises. And anyway, it's magical. It's really it disappears in your mouth. And it came from
Amarante. Yeah, well, yeah. Six almost 6:30 p.m. here. Come on, I mean, you're making us a hard time. It's time to eat now.
Yeah, I know. It's a good dessert. So we'll finish soon, so then you can grab a Pão de Ló on your way home.
Not in a hurry.
So if I have one more question about another profile of clients that you think would benefit from living in the north. How about the digital nomads?
Digital nomads. There was actually the government actually announced a visa for digital nomads recently, right? Not exactly sure how it works because it's quite recent.
It was announced today.
Today, right?
Yeah.
Maybe officially, right? But I've heard
the
that
details.
Before.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But you're right. Our team is preparing some information that will go out, and you will be updated here as soon as we got all the information. Oh, here you go.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing. Usually, digital nomads they will look for work hubs, right, or good services and walking things that you can do. You don't need a car, right, to do stuff. Fluency in English. So definitely, definitely Porto area, right? And that can be all of the greater Porto, where but especially the downtown of Porto. Where you have so you have everything that the digital nomads, high speed internet. It's a more and more a requirement that we have from our clients, even when they're buying like in the rural areas. Like it's one of the first requirements. So that's definitely get all of that in the city of Porto.
No, that's definitely very important. Okay, so before I open the Q&A, I just wanted to share with you, we've done a poll on our LinkedIn page today. sorry, not today, but throughout the week. And we asked what are the main factors that one should consider when buying a property. So, number one factor was outdoor space or green area, about 50%. So that ticks the list of the North of Portugal. Proximity to services. So that was the second one, 29%. And transportation and connections was the third point. So I guess all of this has been all of these points were ticked in our description of the North now, and any offers, all that is needed when you consider buying property. Okay, so we'll now open the Q&A. And basically, I will condense some topics into a couple of questions just to optimize our time here. So first of all, so there has been a few questions about Airbnb and short let. So I asked Rafael, is it possible to invest in property for short let in Porto, in the city of Porto?
In the city of Porto, yes. I mean, as of today, right? Because these legislations for Airbnb they change, quite fast. So as of today, yes, and that. So before the pandemic, before the COVID-19 started, and actually this was there were a few areas in Porto that were restricted for Airbnb. Although after that period, of course, because of the impact on tourism, the city hall decided to lift the restrictions, and the restrictions are lifted until today. So whatever place you buy in Porto now, it is possible to get a AL license, which is the license that you need to request to run an Airbnb Portugal.
Okay. And then, sorry, the next question. We've got one question here from Matthew Allen, which is very similar to another one that we have from LinkedIn. So, are real estate prices dropping in Portugal?
No, they're not. We are like quite straight in that sense. No, we have been seeing a few. Of course, we're seeing a slight growth in the interest rate. Not as strong as in the US. For example, the ECB's raised it for 1.5, which is relatively low. And because, again, I've mentioned that in the beginning of our call. I mean, there's a constant new demand for properties in Portugal, for international demand. So, which helps a lot to the strength of the real estate market at this point.
Okay, and so I heard, and there's also a question here that you can secure property via funding investment in places like Lisbon and Porto and still qualify for Golden Visa. Is that the case?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I actually I was supposed to mention that during this live, but it was good that you mentioned that, Suzanne, because cities like Porto, as I mentioned, it is not possible to invest directly in residential real estate anymore. Although there are a few private equity funds that they're backed by properties, which make it so it is possible to invest in a private equity fund that is backed by a property and secure by a promissory contract a unit in one of the developments that are inside of the fund. Well, the mechanism is a little bit complicated to explain, although we can more than happy to break it down for whoever might be interested. We have quite a few clients doing that. and you can secure within 7 years, within which is the period of the Golden Visa, secure a property to when you exit the fund. So basically, within 7 years, but locking the property right now. We have some tax advantages on doing that, and therefore an interesting vehicle. There's not many options, although there are quite interesting ones that it's worth checking.
Okay, so it's interesting that you said that, because so basically it is an investment, and that will acquire dividends for a period of time, and then you could acquire the property. You have the option at the end of your residency period before you apply for the passport. Okay, but a bit more complicated than that. So I was just trying to summarize and.
Well, I think that does the job.
Okay, cool. One more question here. Is there property tax in Portugal?
There are property taxes. The most significant tax in terms of financial volume is when you buy a property, right? So the buying property, we pay property transfer tax, which is what we call IMT,
Okay.
and also stamp duty, basically the taxes that you pay when you buy a property. And then to maintain the property, you pay we pay what we call IMI, which is the municipal tax, which is a relatively low tax based on the fiscal value of the property. And also, I mean, when if and there are capital gains taxes when you well, there are certain rules that are a little bit hard. We have our legal team that will be that's gonna break it down for our for whoever is interested. But basically, imagine that you buy a property from 200,000 euros and then you want to sell for 400, like after 5 years. You would pay an amount of around 25% of capital gain tax, but depending on each situation, where you are fiscal resident. If it's your primary residence, if it's not your primary residency, you can get another property within a period and not pay this capital gain. So imagine you sell this property and then within 2 weeks you get another property, so you don't pay the capital gains on the first one. So there are certain rules that we need to be very careful when doing this. Well, I'm a property specialist, not a tax specialist.
Yeah.
But yes, there are property tax in Portugal.
Of course, but that's the beauty about working with Goldcrest, because you guys are a buyer's agent, so you will be working with specialists in all segments when it comes to buying a property in Portugal. You will find a property, but if you need lawyers, if you need tax specialists, you will also be organizing that side of the business for your clients too. So I think it's now time to wrap up. We've got the questions answered, and I just would like to remind you that Goldcrest has also a book with everything, a guide on how to buy a property in Portugal. It's available for sale on Amazon and US and the UK. Our production team will share the link here. What else do we have to say, Rafael, about the property market in Portugal, in the north of Portugal? Is there anything else that we should, any last words?
No, there's much more, right? I wanted to say, and first of all, I wanted to thank everyone that stayed together with us until now, and we have team based in Porto that can cover. Our Goldcrest basically covers all Portugal, right? We have team based in Porto to facilitate exploring the market, the real estate market in the north. So in case you are interested in knowing more information or talk with us, about your interest of maybe acquiring a property in the north, be more than happy to assist you. But I think we've covered, what was supposed to be covered, and maybe we can do a second one about them.
Definitely. More than happy to do lives about Portugal, because it forced me to investigate also about those beautiful corners of this country. And so our production team will also share a link here for you to connect with the team from Goldcrest. I've seen they've done the link for Global Citizen Solutions. And so, yes, we just need Goldcrest there. If you have any questions, if you would like to know, how you spell some of these cities and regions and towns that we talked about here, just drop us a line and we'll be able to help you with your research. So now it's time to go. Rafael, thank you so much for being here, and thank you guys for watching us, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel for more treats going on your way. Thank you very much. Muito obrigada.
Thank you, everyone.